Hey everybody, it's Time Spiraled. Boy, it's been a hot minute since I've done a designer draft, let me tell you. And it is something that I've wanted to come back and do for a while. And in this case, I finally have the opportunity. So we have Stasis here, who it's funnily enough, I've done a set for them in the past. I had reviewed their Clique set, and now they've politely asked me if I was available today to do a better yesterday, ABY is the name of the set, designer draft video. And yeah, we're essentially going to record our draft today. We're going to wait for some players to come in. I've been sent the draft link early, which is actually a really cool thing because it lets me talk a little bit before the pod fills up. So I believe, regardless of whether or not we fill up a full 8, see, we're already at 2. This set tends to fill up pretty fast. We're going to take the opportunity before it begins to talk a little bit about the set and a little bit about how I'm going to handle the draft. As usual, I tend to just talk about the things I like as I go through. And there's a lot to like about this set. There is a lot of stuff that's, I think a lot of people would consider complex, so I definitely want to go talk about a little bit, but not all of it. So A Better Yesterday is a very unique set. The mechanics in it are, for the most part, let's not mince words, there's some pretty complicated stuff. And I think some of the best ways of doing that is actually to scroll all the way to the bottom because every pack has a reminder card. So these are chrono counters. This is kind of like the set's flagship. I would say it's the flagship mechanic. There's some other really cool stuff going on, but chrono counters is the big one. So you have cards that will give you these counters, and once each turn, and I love that it's just once each turn, it closes so many problematic doors. And as a sorcery, hey, that closes even more problematic doors. You can spend an amount of chrono counters indicated below. When you do, you gain the additional indicated phase, followed by an additional main phase. So for 2, you get an extra upkeep, which will let you, trigger stuff that triggers on upkeep for the most part, hence why it's the cheapest. Combat phase gives you another combat phase, but notably, it's not an untap phase. So all it lets you do kind of is, if you swing with one thing, maybe it has vigilance or some other stuff, you can get another combat phase and do it again. But anything that attacked and was tapped won't be able to attack in that combat phase. Draw step just gives you a card. And then the big strong one, of course, is untap step, which gives you back all your lands, all your creatures that were tapped, everything. So it's got a lot of utility. The fact that it's once each turn, as I said, thankfully closes a lot of potential issues. You don't have to worry too much about players managing to get like an infinite amount of these things and then combining them between combat, untap, and essentially that would be a little untenable. So thankfully that's not the case. I will say, now that I've drafted the set twice, this will be my third time around, it's still very hard to grok exactly how you're going to use the chrono counters as you draft the set. Obviously, get enough cards that give you chrono counters, and there's a lot you can do, and the cards that give them kind of, generally will lead you to, figuring out what works best with it. And I don't know if I can find a quick chrono counter card, but, whenever it becomes tapped, get a chrono counter. Just there's a lot of them that's just like simple, and it's the chrono counters that you have to figure out how to use them, which is the fun part. I mean, a lot of it is combat focused. I mean, just getting extra cards, just getting extra stuff like that is, pretty much what you need. So yeah, really, really cool thing. I'm gonna go through and try and find the other mechanics. If I do miss one, I apologize. There's not really a card that reminds me about what there is. The cool thing you'll notice is that there is a wild card slot here, so there's a the chance that something pretty spicy shows up. And there's some really cool stuff that I don't want to bring up just yet in case they show up in the draft itself. But I had one in my first draft and I was really surprised to see it. And then in the land slots, you've got basics, and then you've got some fixing that shows up, which is quite nice. And I believe, yeah, one of these is even one of my own sets that gets featured here, Doncaster. So we've talked about the chrono counters, obviously. Surveil, I don't believe, is in as a set mechanic. I think it's just there as like a generic thing. There is gear tokens, which are artifacts that have tap, sacrifice, untap a non-land permanent, but only as a sorcery. So that gives you, again, some more flexibility. It's like single-use untaps versus the mass untap that is the chrono counter stuff. Just going to see if we filled up yet. Almost. We're at 7. I'm going to keep browsing the cards then if I still have a little bit of time. I'm going to keep an eye, though, on the drafting and playtesting. All right. Looks like we're slowly loading up. So I said gear tokens already, and I believe I'm missing Splinter and proliferate. And I know there's like some other stuff here. So honestly, one of the best things I could do now that I think about it is let's go over to the uncommons. I can see if I can find kind of what they're doing. There's flex. You put time counters on it. When there's two or more, they remove and then they trigger. So it's just kind of like it loops the abilities here. And I believe it's all about upkeep control. Yeah, so white blue is upkeep control. Blue black. Actually, you know what? I'm just going to read them all out, and I'm reading them from another tab. So white blue is upkeep control. Blue black is flash tempo. Black red we have a vehicle aggro. Red green is omen path based ramp, which are the lands that you saw earlier. Green white is activated abilities. White black is token aggro. Black green is aristocrats. Green blue is proliferate. Blue red is draw two tempo, and red white is exalted aggro. So they're kind of like, interestingly, how like they're kind of like open ended, but as you'll see, there's quite a few of the cards that do some pretty cool stuff. I believe last time I drafted, I went white black, and I think I've had either, I don't remember what my other deck was. That's a shame. I mean, it's okay. I mean, we're gonna draft cool stuff regardless. With sets like these that have like kind of like these big splashy mechanics, I tend to like to open something splashy at the start, and then if I have the opportunity to follow that, essentially what I call the dream, I'll do it. So, like we said, blue black was the flash, right? During turns other than yours, your spells will cost less. We've got a really powerful instant here. Black red is vehicle, so this is a really nice one actually. I'm not going to look at Ragna I mean, I can, it's right there. So you might notice there's only 4 of these versus like the 40 or the 36, so they take a few slots there. They're essentially like alternate universe, if I believe, versions. So it would be Solo, Last of the Armanti, and then Ragnar Hordcaller is that character, but what if something else had happened? And it's just a completely unique card. But again, it's just one more thing that fits into the weird time like situation, weird time mechanics of the set. Just making sure we haven't missed the ready check. So yeah, mana value greater than its power. So that was ramp. And we got activated abilities right here. Cards like Unending Procession. Yeah, if you activate was not a mana. This is all the one about tokens. I really like this one. Scriptorial Summons is quite cool. I'll let you pause to mouse over some of the cards, but I'm not going to go into all of them. Aristocrats here in black-green works well also splashing into the white-black stuff. Green-blue is Proliferate, as you can see from Artisan Guild Tenets, which gives you Proliferate, Proliferate, Proliferate. Some really cool stuff here. Big fan of a lot of these cards. Blue-red, I believe we said was Draw 2 and then Exalted. I apologize for the flickering as I'm tapping back and forth. I know that sometimes that can show up on the stream. So for each card you've drawn this turn, and then red-white, there you go, attacks alone. It's actually quite nice, the attacks alone, because you can attack once, and if you have some chrono counters, you can get another combat step, and you can attack alone again with something else. That actually works quite well with the Exalted stuff. So there's a lot of very exciting cards in the set. There's a lot of complicated cards in the set. And I think, honestly, the best way to showcase it is just through the draft. I think if we were going card by card, there would be like a lot of overload. But if you stick to the pack and you find a strong, rare, or uncommon, something that really pulls you in and you just go for it, I think that's actually quite fun. And that's kind of like how I've been doing a lot of my custom drafting these days, especially because there's just like low stakes. I like to just chase, like I said, I like to chase the dream concept where I find something exciting, I go for it, and I try to build it. I did show one of these cards before. It's this little guy, Counter of Seconds. It's a 1/1 for 1 that when it becomes tapped, you get a chrono counter. There is one at uncommon, I believe, called Counter of Minutes. So this one's a 2/2 for 3. If you get one or more chrono counters, you get that many plus 1. And when it enters, you can search your library for any number of cards named Counter of Seconds. So I quite like that. And in fact, the very first draft I did, I found the big one, the Counter of Hours, which is a 3/3 for 5 that searches your library for any number of Counter of Minutes and Counter of Seconds to put them into your hand. And then it has the payoff. You pay 24 counters and you win the game. So if you can get all the hours. I think it's kind of like almost impossible to actually get it. You'd really have to open Counter of Hours like pretty much in your pack one, pick one, and then pick as many of the other counters as you can. But because they're just one uncommon and one common, it's quite difficult, I would say, to do so. Luckily, it looks like we got to 8 out of 8, which means we'll be starting very soon. There we go. There's the ready check. Um, you can also see now on Draftmancer, we've got our own MSCM recruitment little poster here. I will say part of it is a little outdated. We unfortunately are no longer currently running the Cube League events. For now, it would be nice to continue them in the future. I think there still could be some demand. Um, so someone's impersonating Stasis because Stasis is hosting. That's really funny. Stasis is again the person who designed the set. So we're just gonna wait for all players to ready check in, and then, like I said, there'll be a lot of cards, and I think reading all 15 cards is probably incorrect for these kind of videos, and it's not realistic. It's not realistic for a draft video to do so. In a real draft, I wouldn't have that amount of time to change up the like and read the packs, because obviously there's a timer, and we don't really have a timer here, but we don't want people waiting on us forever. Stasis would like whoever is currently being called Stasis to change their name. However, that's a bit of an issue because they're also not ready checking in, which is kind of funny. So yeah, that is what it is. I mean, while we wait for that to sort itself out, I'll keep an eye on it just in the background. I should get a notification. Like any big rare or mythic, usually is a decent place to start. There's quite a few uncommons that are quite strong. I would like to do something else than white black because I've already done it before. But if that's where it leads me to, I will do it. I'm more than happy to just play whatever the cards give me. I feel like maybe I was green blue the last time. The counters maybe, but I definitely was white black, and that's something I need to check. I wonder if it's in my game logs. Let's see. A lot of mystery stuff because that's what I've been playtesting. You know what? Looks like I've been doing this on my laptop. So unfortunately, I don't have those saved files here. What are people talking about now? Does anybody know who Stasis is? No. Sorry. I mean, you can just boot them. I mean, it sucks. Like, I mean, yeah, you'd want to have the full 8 out of 8, but 7 out of 8 is still quite good. I think color-wise, I think I would really like to try blue-red. I think that's something that would be exciting on the draw tooth, and I don't think it's something I drew last time. And obviously, you can force something kind of like ham-fistedly, but like or heavy-handedly. But I'd much prefer finding something that fits and then and grab it. So awesome. All right, sounds good. Unless this is like an elaborate bit, it is kind of annoying when someone does that. We much prefer we much prefer for people to just make things streamlined here on Draftmancer. Drafting custom sets is pretty smooth now that we have this. For a long time we were on Plane Sculptors, but Draftmancer is just so much better. It's not even funny. So okay, we're full on. Stasis is in charge. One more ready check, and we should be good. We got a lot of people who I know here. A lot of these players I've drafted with before. Lyco, track we've drafted. Status. I'm pretty sure I've drafted with Atticus before, but Tremor Coveted. Not sure about Tremor. Maybe I've drafted with Tremor. But a lot of these people are known drafters, and I'm excited to see what they draft. I know some of these drafters, for example, I know Lyco's preferences. But I'm not going to assume Lyco's going to go into a specific color pair or trio right away. So we'll see how it goes. Looks like everyone's ready, and here's the first pack. I'm going to make it. That might be a little small for all of you. I think we're going to do it like this, and I'll just scroll down to show you what we got here. So there's a Solo Last of the Armanti in our wild card slot. There is a way apparently to, I mean, I know there is because I managed to do it, to create actually, I'll say like the slot title, but not that we need it. We're not drafting the chrono counters right here, so I'm just gonna let you kind of like soak in this pack. Feel free to pause. There is a lot of text on a lot of these cards, especially the paths. They're all wordy, but once you know what a path does, they all kind of do the same thing. It's a tap land that taps for red or white. You can tap any number of creatures with total power 3 or more to traverse it, then you sacrifice it. And when you do, you get a basic mountain card and a basic plains card. One goes to the battlefield tap, the other one goes to your hand. So you kind of like dig an extra land, but essentially you're like splitting them in half, which I think is quite cool. Speaking of blue red, there's polarized dyad right here, so we could take it, but the coil's burdens. Actually, you know what? I remember coil's burdens, and I remember being like, this is really hard to build around. Obviously, the ward is kind of like wild, and at the beginning of your end step, you got to choose one, but they're all negative. It's you lose 5 life, you have to sack all your creatures or discard your hand. So generally what you want to do is lose 5 life if you're able to. When your hand is empty, you discard your hand so nothing happens, and then you sack all your creatures and you hope to survive a turn. I'm not going to grab it right here. And normally I wouldn't grab a two-color card. I'd look for something in a mono or a land, but like I said, I'm actually really interested in trying the blue-red, and I'm okay with spending a first pick here on this card. It's an 0-3 double strike, which is obviously a weird stat line, but +1 for each card you've drawn, right? So if I draw a card, it'll be a 1-3 double strike, and then from there, it just gets kind of nasty. Like, speaking of, there's Abandon the Time Coil, which would discard my hand, draw 3 cards, and then get a chrono counter for each card discarded this way. If I get enough chrono counters, I get an extra draw step or an extra untap or combat. Like, there's a lot of cool things I can do. Splinter here, I don't think I talked about. It's whatever attacks you pay the Splinter cost to create a tapped and attacking token copy of it without Splinter, and then you sacrifice it. And white-black has a lot of ways actually to keep those Splinter tokens around. It's quite cool, but this is like the deck I drafted last time. So let's start with Polarized Dyad, and let's see what we can do from here. So we're going to be looking for things that are blue-red, draw a card, regardless of the rarity. Not looking to grab a basic island, obviously. Final word, pretty neat. Destroy target creature or planeswalker, and if it's your turn, you have to end the turn. So you kind of do it second main phase sort of thing. Perfectly good card. Like, this is a red path that deals 3 damage when you traverse it. That's not horrible. 4 power, and then it just, yeah, you have to sacrifice it, but it does throw 3 damage at someone's face. I quite like it. I like Temporal Discharge. I remember this card. It's like 6 damage, and then the excess damage is you get that many chrono counters, so it's quite neat. All at Once is a tap token. This is a copy of a creature you control. If at mana value less than 4, you get chrono counters equal to the difference. I think where I'm at here, I mean, yeah, Sing Between Space is a removal that gets better for each card I've drawn. I think I actually want to have a Temporal Discharge here. I mean, between these two, I say that, but maybe I just take Path from the Weft. It's 3 to target opponent. That's not removal. I'd rather take Discharge. I'll take the red piece of removal. Happy to start to, like, crack into that a little bit. Let's see what we got. It's a 2/2 for 2. If creatures you control that enter this turn get an extra +1, and then you can splinter it. I mean, that's not bad. It's a 2/2 that attacks and makes 3 2s. I kind of like it. There's another Temporal Discharge. Buy time here is actually quite good. It's, discard a card, draw a card. You get 4 chrono counters, which means you can get a draw step. Hence, it's a draw 2. But of course, there's a lot of flexibility in that, right? So, definitely something I can think of. I'm still seeing some red and some blue, but I definitely am seeing green, white being passed around. So we'll keep that in mind. Like, this isn't a card that's like a must-have, especially when I don't have too many other stuff. I think I'd rather just take another Temporal Discharge. Just big removal here that I'm perfectly always happy to play as long as I'm red. This one draws me a card. Every card in my hand has cycling, and my end step, I sacrifice it. Yeah, this seems exactly like kind of what I want to do. It's kind of big fun. Essentially, you drop it, you draw a card. That's your 1 card drawn, and then you can cycle everything that you don't want, or you can just fully spend your mana, and then you sacrifice it. Yeah, I'll take it. I don't think it's like absurd. Obviously, I'm pretty much just taking it as like the cantrip with maybe cycle some lands away. But I like where we're starting. I mean, if you're pausing and checking out some other stuff, I mean, the colors seem generally open. I don't see anything being like heavily cut. So things to keep in mind here. Flying 2/4 that surveils 1, not horrible. This is a blue-red path. Never a bad thing to get that kind of fixing. Prodigies is a 2/3 for 3. Whenever you cast a spell, you either get red or you get a chrono counter. I kind of like this. I'm kind of here for this. I don't think I need to grab the fixing right away. I'll take a Madcap Prodigies. Yeah, I like it. I mean, everything I cast will do something. Essentially, my spells either cost red less, pretty cool with what I want to do, or I get chrono counters. So I'm happy to do that, and I wouldn't mind getting any of these other cards back. Flash as long as you control a path or there's a path card in your graveyard, and it's 2 damage to each untapped creature. Oh, that's actually really interesting. So if you got a path card in your graveyard or you have a path, you can swing out and then nuke everything that's not your stuff. Okay, quite neat. Um, I think what I'm going to do is just start locking in like the payoffs. I think there'll be other ways of drawing cards, especially because I've already got the chrono counters. I want to get this Slink. It's a 2/3 Vigilance that can't be blocked as long as I've drawn 2 or more cards. Vigilance is exactly what I want for combat's phase, right? Because if I have things that are vigilant, I can just keep attacking. And the fact that it can't be blocked, and it only needs the 2 or more, means I can go swing for 2 unblockable, swing for another 2 unblockable. That's 4 damage. It is a common, but I'm be very happy to pick up more of these. Love the flavor text, by the way. By day she fights fires, by night she fights firewalls. Yeah, things are going pretty smooth so far. I don't see people like. I think if somebody else was in blue red, this card would not have wheeled all the way to me. Especially because we are on pick 6, and the fact that there's also parallel fates is still here, which is quite good. This is what I would have looked to pick up next because of the draw 2. Let's see what else we got. Counter a spell, you get chrono. Okay, I don't know. I always feel weird about, 3 mana counter spells. Enchant creature loses all abilities, and there's a blue avatar with 1/1. That's never bad. Luminite Liberator, 3/2 trample. Whenever you attack, you get chrono counter. Okay. You know what? This doesn't say whenever it attacks. It says whenever I attack. And I think I like this more than these things. Not that I don't mind Pixelate, but I kind of want to get the bodies out and then see what I can do. I do kind of feel a little odd that they're all at 3. Hopefully we can find some stuff that's not all at the same. This gives a double strike, and it's got Splinter. This is like a good top end, actually. Yeah, because when you attack, you pay 3, it creates another copy of it, and then it gives double strike to one of them. I mean, this kind of hits like big stuff. And I'm pretty sure I want it more than this. I'm okay having one big top end here in Twin Arm Outfitter. Um, it's expensive. Like 6 is a lot, but I mean, limited games can go to 6 mana. I wouldn't want a lot here. I'm actually hoping to find some 1s and 2s so that I can find some other stuff to draw, but I'm very happy with temporal discharges here. Stuff that has, like I'm seeing 3s and 2s toughness, and this 6 damage means it gets all the way up to these big top ends. There's really not much I have seen that doesn't die to a temporal discharge, and just getting a bunch of chrono counters is quite nice. I still have yet to draft this set and end up with a chrono counter, like a pack that doesn't have this last. I've never seen someone like grab it before the mountain, but the coolest thing is that, yeah, they're in one in each pack, and you're forced to kind of grab one by the end, and then you can kind of just leave it in the sideboard and keep an eye on it, which I quite like here. So Abandon the Time Coil, again, just kind of fits into what we're doing. It's not very high impact. The Portal Dasher actually is a cycling blue, which is kind of what we want, and it enters tapped unless it's your turn. So I can flash stuff in. This is kind of cool, actually. Flash 4/6. I think this is more replaceable, and if I'm seeing cycling, hopefully I can find some more. I think I want maybe just the first time coil, and it's really good when your hand is empty, obviously. You just draw 3 cards. I'll take 1 time coil, and I'll be happy with that. And then here, very happy with a sync between space. Looks like what we're doing is pretty open. Costs 1 less for each card you've drawn, so if you do it on your turn, it's 4, and then, everything else makes it cheaper. And it's exactly the kind of card that's really cool off of an Abandon the Time Coil. You draw 3 cards, and then this thing costs, what, 2 or 1 mana if it's on your turn? Very fun. Speaking of, there's a Portal Dasher, and I'm not actually going to leave it at 6. I'm going to use this more often than not for, I think, blue cycling. So happy to put it here. You can't say this pack hasn't gone our way. I think I'm pretty happy with what we've got. It's a 3/1, target creature can't block, and then Splinters. Yeah, I mean, I'm okay with that. Not playing solo, I think. I mean, it's good. I just don't think we're fixing right now. Oh, dang, I got a planes. I did not get the guard I was thinking. Like cards that are kind of like interchangeable, like Borderlands, Daredevil, Liberator, Twin Arm, like they're not in our archetype, so to speak. So there's definitely other things we can do. Let's see what we got. Industrial Reclamation, beginning of your upkeep, untap all lands you control. That's really interesting. So, So you can use them for all these flash things. Probably not what we're doing. Um, Tap token copy of a creature you control. That's fine. You get some extra chrono counters. Um, this is one you control. What's our ETBs like? Not really on the ETB line, so this is probably not something I'm looking to pick heavily here. Maybe it's just a Molten Eld Beast. Like these are not bad cards. It's just okay. This is an instant. Um, so it's not bad. The gear tokens is always neat. I don't know. I feel like discard any, draw that many, cycling. I'm happy to have, I think, more top end. I definitely want to find stuff at 2 or 3. Okay, I'll go with the L Beast. I'll put it back in the cycling here. I just kind of like having the opportunity. Okay, well, I'm just gonna put that here. Chronometon here is quite good. It's actually really good in this set. I mean, it's always just kind of good. Like this thing does get out of hand, but it's nice that it's got a lot to do here. Like Enter Surveil is fine. Like I would take a Chronometon if I really had to. Prismatic Lens is fine. I'm happy with this Inscape. That's kind of what I want. I'm happy with a third one. Honestly, this is kind of what I want to be doing. I did not think I would get so many of these. It's really easy to draw 2 cards, and it's actually pretty cheap to get, like I said, the combat phase. And that's just a lot of damage that can be out of nowhere. Let's keep an eye on what else we want. I'm not seeing a lot of 1 and 2 drops that I want, unfortunately. Sacrifice artifacts. I mean, this is not horrible. You ETB and you throw something at someone's face, right? Because it's equal to its mana value. Like, throw a 6 drop, just win the game. But I am going to grab another Synscape. Having 3 of these makes me very happy. And it definitely means that we can probably cut as we go some of the less on theme cards. Feeling pretty good. In fact, I much prefer Synscape than Polarized Dyad. Not that I don't like this card. I kind of like the surprise of it because you can cycle and then it grows. But I like that this is just always a 2/3 vigilance, which is really not bad. And then as soon as you draw a card, your opponent's in trouble. I would happily play a deck with like 5 of these, I think, right now. Okay, this is exactly the kind of card I'm looking for. And yeah, there's other stuff in here that's nice. Like I said, Time Coil's probably fine. Buy time. Be happy if that wheeled. I don't think it's like a high pick, but Skyline Operator is just a 1/3 flyer. Whenever it deals combat damage to a player, you get a chrono counter. I mean, that kind of feeds into what we're doing, and it's finally a 2-drop. No offense. I'm kind of looking for especially on the 2-drop line. And if I'm unable to find these, I am going to try and look to maybe find a prismatic lens or something that can just bring me up a notch, because, yeah. I mean, there's a really interesting way to ramp, which is where you get to 5, right? No, it doesn't work, because then your mana just empties. Huh. I wonder if there's a card that lets you float the mana. I'm talking absolute nonsense right here. All right, let's see what we got. Might take a prismatic lens, not kidding. What is this, though? When it dies, if you control a path or there is a path card, exile. But it's just a 3/1 for 2. You know? Like, obviously, Abandon the Time Coil is cute. And I did say I would kind of like a prismatic lens. And even though this is not really what we want to be doing, I'll take it. I'll take some early bodies. I think that's not something that we can ignore. And I'd be happy to either wheel lens or the time thing. Pick 6. This is still new stuff. This is target creature phases out. I mean, I can see that being kind of useful. You get 2 chrono counters. I like it. An attacking creature gets +3/+0 until end of turn. If it attacked alone against first strike. So let's say I draw. I get my second draw. I can give +3/+2 to my Synscape. It attacks for 5. 3 chrono counters. It attacks for 5 again. There's something pretty spicy I can do there. I'll take 1 of these because honestly, the base rate is +3/+0. It doesn't have to have attacked alone. And in fact, the first strike part is not that relevant. The other part is, though. Okay, Alloy Transmuter creates a tap treasure token, and then it's got Splinter. That's actually kind of good with what we want to do. Everything else seems kind of not what we're doing. I just wish it wasn't, again, in the 3-drops, but I will take what I have to. Here it's going to be a Lost in Tomorrow. It doesn't cantrip, and I could see us cutting this, but again, just a few extra chrono counters. Because the main way we are getting chrono counters right now, let's check, is Abandon the Time Coil, 2 Temporal Discharges, Skyline Operator, oh, there it is, Madcap Prodigies, Luminite Liberator. Like, we've got some, but we don't have an infinite amount. Enters. We're still not huge on the enters thing. I mean, there's some, but I think I would. It's return up to 1. Maybe I just take Omen Web Guardian. I mean, copy of target creature I control. It could be anything. Doesn't have to be mana value 4. Okay, I'll take an all at once. I'll take one of them. Here I'm going to take the Prismatic Lens. We're kind of weird in this middle. I kind of want it. One against all is kind of neat, but I've already hit my like 23 cap. So things to keep in mind here. Buy time is definitely more around what we're probably wanting to be doing, just because it immediately gets us to our chrono counter. I'll take a chrono counter here. Someone didn't give it to me last time, and I want to have one just that I can look at. In fact, we'll even move it up here. Like the double strike is cool on things like Synthscape. I could see a lot of cool stuff. I kind of want to play around having a bunch of Synthscapes. But like I said, there's quite a few cards here that are quite replaceable, like Daredevil and stuff. Actually, we'll put the chrono counter. Yeah, I know it's tracking it as part of the deck, but it's fine. Like, I'm not sure I need the prismatic lens. So, like, I'm not sure I need this. I'm not really sure I need this. I'm not sure I need Lost in Tomorrow. I kind of like what I've got going on with one against all, but it's not, like, necessary. And the fact that I actually don't have that many here means I don't need them right away. So I'm closer to, like, 19. I don't really need this, and this is not obligatory either. I think I like everything else I got going on here. I mean, even this is not necessary, right? But I will leave it in. So let's put these back for now. And then as we move into the next pack, we can start cleaning things up. It's hard. I don't know how easy it is to cast things like Abandon the Time Coil, right? It's a 3 sorcery that eats up a good chunk of your turn. Yeah, you get a lot of, like, let's say you discarded 3 cards, you'll get 3 chronos. So maybe you can do an untap step. Oh, well, look, we got a second one. So didn't have to risk it. All right, what do we got? Time Coil Tracings. Can't cast a spell if you've cast another spell this turn. It's just draw a card. You can no longer cast spells this turn, and it goes back to its owner's hand. Look, this is exactly the kind of card that's built for our deck. It's, you know, it's, it's not a creature at 2, but it's kind of what we want to do. Like, I dropped 2 Synthscapes, and every turn I just played Time Coil Tracings. Like, I'm happy to take it here. I would want to probably get things like Pious Motorist. Like, I just want some bodies. But I will take the, obviously, in my archetype card here in Time Coil Tracings. Probably cut one of these one against all right now, just to keep us at 23. This is definitely, I think, going to be a 17 land deck. Everything kind of starts at 3 mana. Like, these early cycles are quite nice, but I definitely want to have more creatures. Flash, when it enters, exile a spell or non-land permanent you don't control with 2 time counters on it, and then it suspends it. That's not bad. Spotwell, probably not. Okay, X damage to a creature where X is 2 plus the number of cards you've drawn this turn. I mean, that's good removal. This attacks and proliferates, and then you can pay 5 to put stun counters on target creatures. Is not bad. More things at 3 is what I'm seeing, though. I mean, this card's just good. It's just exile something and I don't have to deal with it for 2 turns. Like, I'll take it. Oh, okay, some cheap stuff. Okay, hold up. Power equal to the number of attacking creatures you control. Not quite what I want. What about you? Nope, you're a 5-drop. Oh my gosh. And nothing here is really screaming card draw. I mean, yes, there's another sync between space. I'm not sure I want more sync between spaces right now, actually. I feel like I am going to decently attack once I get to the 3s and stuff. Like, but the problem is the toughness never gets bigger. So even with the Splinter, I feel like something just chumps this and it kind of just like dies horribly and then I feel bad about it. And the gears just have straight up tap, sacrifice it, tap target non-land permanent. It's not bad. Okay, you know what? I will take another Sing into Space just because I've got a lot of like Time Coil, Splintered, Abandoned. I kind of like the idea of floating up every like the player's like entire board. Okay, so I saw that one of these in my first pack, and I never saw another one. I was really hoping to wheel one. It's a 1/1 menace that when it becomes tapped, you can discard a card to draw a card. This is what we want because it triggers our Thinscape Slinks, and it's something cheap. Alloy Transmuter back would be fine. I would even take a Sifter of Futures Forgotten just because of the gear token. Now that we're looking to mill. Um, the Surveil is quite decent with what we're doing. Watcher at the Edge, though, is the Vigilance one. I think that's the big one. Things phase out or it can phase out other things. And the fact that we're trying to get extra combats, I'm going to take a Watcher at the Edge, and I'm going to cut the Borderlands Daredevil. I think at this point I can start cutting some of the other stuff that's not great. I say that, but like, I don't really think I want it all at once. We're at 25. I'll have to cut a few more things. This basic land cycling, not sure this is what I want. Like, buy time really fuels what we're doing. You just have to, find the cards. Okay, I'll take a buy time. Flash flying, when you cast a spell, you may tap target creature. That's not bad. And this one, though, is a flying 4/3 for 5. Whenever one or more creatures can deal combat damage, you exile that many. I feel like I can get rid of my entire library by accident. I will take an Eldworld Sprite. Okay, at this point, I can cut some of the stuff that's a little less on theme. I think I can cut the Twin Arm here. Sink into Space more realistically is technically here. Yeah, I mean, we're gonna have to cut 3 more cards. These are fine. Like, I can see cutting this one. I really want to keep the treasure and the other stuff. Really nothing else here that I'm casting except Illuminate Liberator. Even then, I'm not sure if I'm using it. I do want to keep the cycling. Again, 1 against all might not be necessarily what I want. I would hate to draw that and then none of my creatures and just kind of hells in my hand. I'm okay with cutting that. I can cut Lawson tomorrow. I think right now I'm down to 25. So this draws and then I cycle. And this is kind of just every turn. I mean, this is often going to be a dead draw until I get like this out. And then there's a lot that I can do. I would... Thankfully, it doesn't pick itself up from the yard. That would be really nuts with all the discard. Okay, I'll take the Sifter here. 2/1 that creates a gear token. I think I prefer that than the Voices of the Displaced. Dang, I almost feel like Abandon the Time Coil is the right cut, just because it's like... Yes, it's a draw 3 for 3, but you got to pitch your whole hand. And if you're drawing a lot of cards, you probably have quite a bit of cards in your hand. So maybe it's not quite what I want. Omen Web, I'm cutting, definitely not what I want here. I don't know. Like, obviously, it's good. It's like the big draw is what's good with Polarized Dyad, but I'm not really doing Polarized Dyad stuff. I'm doing Synthscape Slink stuff. I want to just draw one other card a turn. And this is like pitching my whole hand. And it gives me a lot of chrono counters, but I mean, now that I have 2 buy times and some other stuff, I think this is where I cut. And I think I'm okay playing 16 lands here in the end, now that my top end really is these 4 and then 5 at the removal. Not playing any of this. Beginning of your upkeep, I'll just clear out the removal. One less thing that I would have to worry about. And again, the reason I like Watcher is the Vigilance, right? Vigilance, Vigilance, Vigilance. And then we want to get the extra combat. I didn't see a way to grant mass Vigilance, but it is what it is. These are cyclings I think is neat, and then of course they double as big top end. I think Portal Dasher is the weaker of the two. I quite like this one because again it's discard then draw. So even if I drop it on 6 as a big body, but I'll just take another solo. I'll take Artisan. I mean, not that that's not horrible. It draws itself. That's neat. And then a mountain. Nice. We have a pretty mountain. I mean, I'm not unhappy with what I got. Looks like we're at 8 and 8. We're pretty balanced. We've got something neat. I think the deck would have been better with if I go and check game log. Again, I have to always remember to do this because some people don't check. Yeah, I found a scrounging Vaster in my pick one, and I took the polarized dyad. Funnily enough, I think I would actually prefer scrounging Vaster now, because it triggers the Synscape so well. Then I don't think we saw another one. Maybe there's an argument here for the path just because it would have been a cheaper thing to do, but the temporal discharges were great. Maybe over eager courier here instead of that second temporal discharge just for the bodies. Splintered here. Just making sure I didn't pass up like some crazy stuff. I mean, one path would have been neat. And I wouldn't mind it having at least one prognosticator. Just felt that every time they showed up, I wanted something else. That's it. We never saw parallel fates again, but I'm not complaining. I got all the synth stuff. Our removal count is low. Um, but I don't think that's a bad thing. Like, I mean, I say it's low, but it's two sinks and two temporal discharge. I would say our removal is expensive. I think I'm hoping more for like these, some of the phase out, and I'm hoping to actually like just not. Oh, there's those from beyond is removal. I think I'm just hoping not really to interact with my opponent. Um, as weird as that sounds, I want to attack, get a lot of chrono counters because with these I'm getting two. This deals combat, I get a third. And then all I need to do is go to three. Yeah, three is the combat. And the combat phase is really where everything's at. So, um, yeah, this has been better yesterday. Blue, red, draw two. What we're going to do real quick is just kind of check what our opponents ended up drafting. And I mean, I won't have a chance to go over everything, but it looks like Tremor. I'm going to assume that green's not really part of it. Sometimes it doesn't pick it up. Looks like we're doing black, white, red, or maybe not red. There's like some either Mardu or looks like a pretty Mardu aggressive kind of deck. Coveted Peacock looks like they're on kind of like a Bant build or white blue. Yeah, it looks more like white blue and then splashing for some of the green. Comrack is on red. Black. Okay, well, their Scrounging Bastards never made it to us here. Let's see if there's anything else that we didn't see. Yeah, okay. A lot of the red aggro stuff ended up here. So black, red, vehicle, aggro. Again, Scrounging Vaster is good in our deck because we want the draw, and it's also good in the vehicles deck because it's tap, doesn't have to attack. Something to keep in mind. Atticus seems like they were on a similar deck to us. Huh, look, they have the counter of seconds. I would have been happy finding another Scrounging Bastard. Yeah, we only got the one. We only got the one. A Slink ended up in here. A Virtuoso would have been neat. Muse would have been great. Actually, giving an artifact, tap, draw a card would actually have been quite fun. I don't know if I had an artifact to give that effect to, unfortunately, but a polarized dyad. Um, Time Coil Dismantler, I think, is a pickup maybe I should have considered more just because it's when you spend one or more, it deals that much damage to each opponent, and we were spending a lot, so maybe I should have grabbed one of those. But I feel like we didn't really cut each other off too much. We have some of the stuff, but like the buy times. What I'm not seeing is more blue-red payoffs for the draw two. I'm seeing a lot of the support, but not a lot of the payoffs. Okay, the motorists came here. This looks like somebody else was in black-red vehicles. Yeah. Okay, the all-purpose reforges is kind of scary, honestly. Yeah, this deck looks pretty good. Trek is in white black. Oh, it seems like a lot of people were doubling up on the same stuff. And Lyco, I didn't want to jinx it, but Lyco frequently is green white whenever they can. So seeing them in green white does not surprise me. This is just like counters and big. This is exactly the kind of stuff that Lyco drafts. You know what? I'm happy with what I got. It's definitely weird on the mana value side to side, but that was it. So if you like the set, if you like cool stuff like gear tokens and chrono counters and stuff, you should definitely check out A Better Yesterday. There's so many cards that we didn't have a chance to show today, and especially all the like alternate arts and stuff, and a lot of work went into making these paradox or parallel type legends. The flavor is so great, and it's pulling art from like really great sources. And I really like it, all things considered. I'm hoping that this set does well in whatever format it ends up being submitted. I would assume that's going to be a Revolution. But if ever it ends up in field test, I'd be really interested in seeing how the set plays out. What we're going to do is we're going to drop the link to the set's notes in the video, and I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you get a little glimpse. And if this is the kind of video you do want more, where you're someone with a set that's in a finished draftable state, not means that you're not, tweaking and stuff, but like it's fully arted, there's no like placeholder stuff. If you're ready to have it drafted, I would be more than happy to take some time out of my day on the weeks when I have the time to do more designer drafts and feature your projects. And I've really been enjoying doing that as a community member, is, showing off the cool stuff that people have made, because these sets are cool and it's the kind of stuff that I really want to support. So thanks for watching it. Hopefully you enjoyed it. I kind of like what I built. It's, again, this is like, it's what I was talking about with the dream. Slinks, vigilance, juice them up, and attack. Yeah, I know we can do some crazy stuff with one against all, and so maybe there's a world where I cut the weird, like some of the stuff that's just doing a little less, and I put those in and I go for like the blitz. But for now, they'll be in the sideboard. I'm happy with what I got. So take it easy, everyone. Hopefully we see each other around YouTube or the custom magic communities. Take care.